25-year-old Shannon has lost her baby girl. 4 nights ago, she took her to a restaurant and she hasn't seen her since.
Some of the customers noticed that I was acting a little bit off. I was approached by 2 officers. They decided to take me to jail.
Mother apparently had a bag full of different medications.
Shannon's child is now in the hands of the Los Angeles Department of Children and Family Services, DCFS. Do you think that you deserve to have your daughter taken away from you?
Yeah. With that said, I do think that I deserve another chance, though.
What happens when a parent puts their child at risk? When the state becomes responsible for the future of a family? Los Angeles County has the largest foster care system in the country, but it's been described as a system in crisis.
What do we want? Child safety! Now!
We've been given an unprecedented look inside a system that is under fire, struggling to care for thousands of children. We'll explore what's gone wrong.
Every worker feels the sense of having no support.
And what the system is getting right. From social workers on the front lines.
I'm calling from the Department of Children and Family Services. I need the police regarding allegations of child abuse.
To foster parents who step in at a moment's notice.
They need to feel safe. They need to know that they're loved.
I know you know that word.
To mothers fighting to put their families back on track. Did you feel guilty as a mother?
Yes, every day.
Come here, give my hug.
That's why I won't stop until I get them back.
America. It can be inspiring and beautiful. It can also be dark and ugly. It's so many things, but it's ours. It's our America. Los Angeles County, population 9.9 million. It's a dense labyrinth of cities and neighborhoods covering more than 4,000 square miles, and it's home to 2.5 million children. When their families fail to care for them, it's the job of DCFS to step in.
I'm with the Department of Children and Family Services Hotline. How you doing?
The Child Abuse Hotline receives as many as 1,000 calls a day. And when there is a substantial threat of danger, it's a social worker who drives out to investigate. So what do we know about this case?
A mother was spotted at a restaurant under the influence of some type of substance and was driving with her 10-month-old child.
Vasone and I are heading to the Culver City Police Station, where a mother and her baby have been taken into custody. A mother herself, Vasone has spent 11 years as an emergency response worker.
I'll text you as soon as I'm ready to come out.
Okay.
Okay.
She's removed hundreds of children from dangerous homes. But the decision to separate a child from their parent is never an easy one. We're not allowed to bring cameras into the police station, so Vasone has gone in. She's going to try and talk to the mother and see if they have any relatives in the area. If not, there's a very good chance that Vasone will be leaving this police station with a baby in her arms. Daylight slips away as we wait. And when Vasone emerges, she's not alone.
Okay, I'm gonna go this way. Let me pull the front seat up.
This is baby Lily. She's 10 months old. Her mother is inside, still detained, and still under the influence.
She's a former heroin addict, and she said the combination of some of the medication that she's taken has left her lethargic and pretty much out of it. But the good thing is, she appears to be a happy baby.
She's a beautiful little girl.
She's a beautiful little girl.
Lily's mother has no relatives in the area that are able to care for her. So Vasone is taking her to the DCFS Welcome Center, a first stop for young children entering the system. Oh,
What's wrong, baby girl?
this baby in many ways is sort of in limbo right now.
Yes.
For the next 24 hours, who knows where she could end up.
I do know that there's a grandmother, but she's in Utah. She's trying to make her way here. You're ready, huh?
I'm gonna take your ball.
From the moment DCFS comes into contact with a child, they are responsible for them, whether they go to live with a relative, enter foster care, or return home. And until DCFS is certain that there is a relative both fit and willing to care for Lily, she'll remain with the county. The Welcome Center is where children ages 12 and younger are brought while they await placement in foster care.
We're here.
Like baby Lily, every child here is in limbo, caught between a life they knew and a future that is uncertain.
Calling to find out if you have vacancy for a 10-month-old baby.
A future that now lies in the hands of a social worker at the DCFS command post, whose job it is to work the phone banks and find them a new home.
I was trying to see if you have a vacancy for a 10-month-old baby. Do you know of any other agencies that could help me?
State law requires that the county find placement for children within 24 hours of bringing them to the Welcome Center, but it can often take much longer. And tonight, there are 8 other children over the age of 12 waiting at command post, a converted office building and a place of last resort. Kids over 12 years old who are awaiting placement have to come here to the command post. There's one kid who has slept here for 8 nights in a row and one who celebrated his birthday here today. For the last 3 years, the number of kids entering the system has been on the rise, while the number of foster homes has gone down. And finding suitable placements is becoming increasingly more difficult.
This is Command Post DCFS. Was calling to find out if you had any vacancies for a 10-month-old baby girl. If you can, give me a call back.
While Lily settles in for the night, there's no sign of things slowing down for the Welcome Center staff. Jackie is the supervisor here tonight, and her job is non-stop.
Here are your 3 packets. Let's make sure that they're accurate.
Jackie, it's 10 p.m. on a Sunday night. It seems a little frantic in here right now. What's happening?
What's happening is we're moving 3 kids out. We actually have foster care placement for them. And so we've got our driver here.
After hours of working the phone lines, DCFS has finally found families willing to take in some of the children here. But in one case, the news is heartbreaking for 2 siblings trying to stay together.
Okay, so sit up on your sister. Let me get his phone number for you, okay? Let me get his phone number. I'll get his phone. Okay, but you gotta be strong, my brother. You gotta be strong, okay?
There are 2 siblings here, an older sister and a little brother. And the little brother was just placed, and the older sister has to stay here. Older siblings are some of the hardest kids to place in the system, and oh man.
If we're separating siblings, we try to do it as quickly as possible because it prolongs the pain. We got a placement for him, we haven't found one for her. Part of the reason we had her here is so they could stay together and work on that type of placement. Sometimes it happens, most times it doesn't.
Oh God, how do you do this?
It's not easy. So, it's tough.
Tonight, a sister will have to say goodbye to her little brother. He will leave, and she will stay behind, while DCFS tries to find a family willing to take her in.
Come on, I'm gonna go with Mr. Gray. I'll show you. Don't use them up. Yeah, you will. You got some stuff? Did you come with some stuff? No? All right, let's find out.
In a perfect world, there would be a home with 2 beds for 2 siblings. But it's not a perfect world, and it's far from a perfect system. And the media is taking note.
An urgent need for foster parents in Los Angeles County.
The system is flooded with children who need homes.
The Department of Children and Family Services has been facing mounting pressure to overhaul the entire organization. Pressure that has the potential not only to transform the system, but to shut it down. LA County's foster care system is facing a crisis, one that has captured the attention of local media.
Graphic new details tonight in the death of an 8-year-old Palmdale boy.
Despite many complaints and hotline calls, the case got precious little attention from the Department of Children and Family Services.
8-year-old Gabriel Fernandez died, allegedly, at the hands of his own mother and her boyfriend. DCFS had received multiple reports that the child was being abused, but somehow Gabriel was never removed from his home. I'm about to meet the latest in a long line of DCFS directors, a man who is now grappling with the fallout of tragedy, Philip Browning.
There appeared to be just a lack of common sense in some of the decision-making by our workers, where there would be child fatality reports, where I'm thinking, how in the world could this worker have missed this? But I think sometimes we've tried so hard to ensure that the child stay with their home that we've had more situations that were adverse than we would like.
Gabriel wasn't the only child to die on the county's watch. A report conducted by a Children's Special Investigation Unit showed systemic failures that contributed to the deaths of 14 children in less than 2 years, and that an emphasis on keeping families together had let too many children slip through the cracks. In the 2 years since the report, a combination of factors has led to more calls coming into the hotline and more children entering the system. The problem is the county is running low on places to put them. Would you say you've reached a crisis level in that there aren't enough foster parents to foster the thousands of children in the system?
Well, I think we have reached a level where we've got to do something different. Our real need is for foster parents who can take younger children.
A shortage of foster homes isn't the system's only problem. An increased caseload is falling on the shoulders of an overworked staff of social workers. They have reached their breaking point. We're heading over to the largest demonstration of LA County workers in more than a decade. This bus is filled with DCFS social workers, and they want to express to the LA County Board of Supervisors their grievances, and there are many.
What do we want?
Safety!
When do we want it?
Now! Our primary concern is just this workload has gotten unbearable. The amount of stress that it creates on the worker, just not enough time to do the job that we're asked to do.
33-year-old Randy has been with DCFS for 8 years. What is your caseload presently?
Right now I'm at 43, which is my personal highest. We're not supposed to be over 31 actually, so it's a lot to keep up with.
Do you often have kids in the office because they've had issues with placement?
Things seem to be getting worse where the caregivers are getting pickier. Maybe it's because we have a shortage of placements and we're begging people to take our kids. I have a very independent 18-year-old that I've spent almost 2 weeks, day after day, trying to find placement for her, where I was going to McDonald's buying her food and bringing her downtown because we didn't have a placement at night for her. She needed a place to sleep. And that's one kid. I've got 42 other ones. So there's a real mission of acknowledging the amount of time that it takes to do good social work. Some things gotta give.
Randy isn't the only one who feels this way. According to the Workers Union, over 50% of social workers in Los Angeles County have reported that at times their caseloads have topped more than 40 in a single month. They argue that without more support, children at risk will once again fall through the cracks.
What do we want?
Child safety! Now!
When a system becomes so stressed, what happens to the children it's designed to protect? Without enough foster homes, without enough social workers, can they really do the job they've been tasked with? Despite thousands of overworked social workers, baby Lily was placed in a foster home within 24 hours. After numerous calls from command posts to different foster families, different foster care agencies, a couple in Lancaster, which is over 60 miles away from Culver City, where the baby's journey first began, agreed to take her. Hi, how are you? I'm Lisa.
Hey, Lisa, I'm
nice
Isaac.
to meet you.
It's my wife, Alicia.
Hi, Alicia. Nice to meet you.
And these are the babies.
Here they are. Here she is. Hi, sweetheart. Isaac, a software technician, and his wife, Alicia, have been foster parents for 2.5 years. In addition to Lily, they have another little girl that has been with them for almost a year. Lily is the 9th baby for whom they provided a home. We met this baby in Culver City. Did you receive a call, or how did she end up here?
Our agency called us and said, we have a placement for you. Are you willing to take her? We just said, sure, we'd take her. We'd love to have her.
It's really difficult to place infants.
Yeah.
Why is the infant demographic the one that you are interested in?
My wife was in the system for a few years as a child, and my parents were foster parents. So it's kind of like our way to give back to the system and help children out.
Do you think about what this baby has been through, and not just the last 24 hours, but that ultimately led to her parents losing her?
We don't judge. We focus on providing the best care she can have. And then from there, we help towards their unification. Our goal is always to help the families get their babies back, to help them in whatever means that is.
Isaac and Alicia receive $800 a month for each of the babies they care for. But they give something that no amount of money can buy.
It's definitely not a profit-making type of thing. You do it because you love helping out for the baby. And that's why we do it.
And you can tell she likes being held alive.
Yeah.
They need to feel safe. They need to know that they're loved. They need to know that they have somebody that's going to take care of them right from the beginning. They've already lost everything. I know what that feels like. So I think that's why I can give the love, because I know that she needs it. I know what I needed, and I know what I received. So I want to give that back to each baby that comes to my home.
At a moment's notice, Isaac and Alicia have agreed to care for and love this baby. Yet they also know she could be gone from their lives as quickly as she came. Is it hard not to get attached to these babies?
They each get a piece of our heart, and it's almost instantly. So
yeah.
That's why it hurts so bad when they go home.
Tomorrow, the county will hold a hearing and decide whether or not it's in Lily's best interest to stay in foster care.
If they do detain her, then they're going to create a unification plan for mom, and hopefully she complies. If not, we're more than willing to keep her here for as long as it takes.
Yeah, she has a home as long as she needs one here.
It's one of the most important components of the child welfare system. Temporary parents for the thousands of kids that are removed from dangerous homes. But I'm about to meet a mother on the other side of the equation who is now fighting to get her kids back. A year and a half ago, 47-year-old Monica, mother of 3, was in love with a man she hoped would be a good husband and a good father. He turned out to be abusive. Had he ever hurt your kids before?
No.
Had he ever hurt you?
Yes.
Monica ended the relationship and took out a restraining order, hoping the worst was over. But Monica's nightmare was just beginning.
He felt the only way that he could get me to communicate with him was to go to the school and take my child. That's how he lured me to the park.
Monica panicked. Her 6-year-old daughter was in the hands of someone she knew to be dangerous.
I called the police. They didn't show.
Frustrated and afraid for her child, Monica then did something she now deeply regrets.
I took a gun and I went to the park. I was afraid of him. I just thought, I can't allow him to kidnap or hurt her or me. He didn't take me serious. I wound up firing a shot in the air. I was arrested and my children were taken into custody that day.
No one was physically hurt, but the consequences were devastating. Monica was sent to jail, charged with assault with a deadly weapon and child endangerment. With no family members to take them in, her 3 children, Troy, Kaliha, and Mwani, were placed in foster care.
It's a very scary feeling. You feel empty, you're worried, are they okay? Are they all right? How are they feeling? Is the foster home they're in, are they treating them well?
Part of Monica's concerns for her kids stemmed from personal experience. How long were you in foster care?
From the ages of 10 to 16. I remember the first night of being taken, I was very scared. Even though I was being abused, I was being taken from my home. I felt very alone and like I was being punished for something that I had no control over.
Monica says she spent years in the system, in and out of over 30 placements.
And that's why I was so determined to let them know that I would never stop doing what I had to do until I get them back. And I won't. I won't stop until I get them back.
Monica will have to convince the courts that she's a fit mother. But DCFS has given her a roadmap to follow, a reunification plan that includes parenting classes. But it will take more than just showing up.
What we want our children to change, we also want to look at ourselves. So as we set goals for them, make sure we set goals for ourselves.
The classes are not only teaching Monica how to communicate better with her kids, but have also given her insight into the events that led to their removal.
I've learned to recognize that there are a lot of different types of abuse. If I'm being abused, and they're being abused. Because whatever I'm going through, they're going through.
So the classes help you realize that you might not have been putting the kids in the best situation prior.
You definitely need to look at the character of a person that you bring into your life and your children's lives. Everybody's not fit to be around your children.
After 6 months of following the court's orders, Monica's son, 14-year-old Troy, was allowed to come home.
So you had a pretty good day today? We're starting to move on to how the human body reproduces. So most of the time, people are talking about ejaculation.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's a pretty good topic then.
Pretty good topic.
Discussion? Debate? What do you want to call it?
We're talking about ejaculation.
And what, who? Oh my God. I surely thought you said something else.
Having Troy home has brought life back into the house, but there are still 2 empty seats at the dinner table. Every night, Monica waits for 6 o'clock when she gets to talk on the phone with her daughters.
Hi, I was calling to speak with the girls, but I see you guys are not in at the time. So if you could, let them give me a call when they get in. Okay, bye-bye.
The court has decided to keep Monica's younger children, 6-year-old Mwani and 10-year-old Kaliha, in foster care while they continue to monitor Monica's progress.
Usually the girls would be in by now. I don't know what's going on over there.
Across town, it's another mother taking care of Monica's 2 daughters.
Do number 10 for me.
1, 2.
It's homework time for Mwani and Kaliha and their foster mom, Regina.
So what's your goal here?
Mwani is struggling with a math assignment that should be within her grasp.
Now we're going to do it backwards. What number is this?
16, 15, 14.
Now what goes here?
20.
No.
Since the separation from her mother, Mwani's grades have been plummeting, and she's not alone. Children in foster care often fall behind in school. Numerous moves combined with traumatic experiences can cause them to fare worse than their peers. Do you think the kids have been languishing in foster care?
To some extent, yes. Mwani is in danger of failing the 1st grade.
Had she ever had issues with grades before?
No. That was a battle that I had been battling for almost a year, to get them moved, to get somebody to listen, look at what's going on.
This is good.
When Mwani's grades began to suffer, Monica lobbied for a new foster care placement.
You're full? Then you don't want any dessert.
Regina has only had the girls for a week. Monica's social worker helped transfer them here, where they will now live with 3 other kids she's fostering.
Oh, I spit in your food.
No spitting.
Regina is a seasoned foster mom, and so far, Mwani and Kaliha are doing better under her care.
I always tell my kids the past is the past. We're going to focus on the future and what we can do to help you get through it.
Most of them will eventually go back to their parents.
Right.
So how do you prevent yourself from becoming too emotional?
I've learned not to put a wall up, but to nurture them as my own kids, and you still can love them, even though they go home.
Do you think that this has been the best course of action for the kids, to have them in DCFS custody?
Without having no family myself, what would have happened to my children if there wasn't the foster care system? Hi, baby. How are you?
I'm Edith.
I miss you. You did your homework? All right, that's a good girl. That's a good. It's like an army on the battlefield. Everybody plays their position. It does take that foster parent to play their role. It does take that social worker to advocate for you. It takes more than one person to win the battle. All right, well, Mommy just wanted to hear your voice and let you know that I love you. I was thinking about you.
It's too soon to tell how the girls will do in their new placement. But until their mother has proven she's capable of caring for them, Mwani and Kaliha will remain in foster care.
Good night. See you in the morning.
Across the county, Isaac and Alicia continue to watch over Lily. While in children's court, her mother braces herself for a verdict.